So I'm back from California, and I figured, you know what, let's do a post-California little wrap-up video. I know a lot of you don't care about my experience there, but for those of you that do, this video is for you. California, yeah. And this video will include my bucket list item of driving across the Golden Gate Bridge with the Full House theme song. I'll put that at the end of the video if that is something that you in fact want to see. I did not know what to expect. Well, I guess I had a little bit of idea of what to expect going into the state, but it was all basically hearsay and stuff like that. I was expecting to see homeless everywhere, high gas prices, and, a bunch of just the stereotypical things that you hear, okay? And the thing is, it wasn't as bad as what you hear, kind of thing. Were there homeless? Yes. Some of them were living quite well, may I say. I thought that was kind of funny. At one point I drove by, they had a tarp in the bed of a truck, and they had it filled with water like they were just chilling out in a jacuzzi. I saw that on the way to work one morning, and I was like, "Oh, okay." They're enjoying what they have. They're enjoying it, so I thought that was pretty nifty. But I need to stress, and I thought it was pretty clear in my initial video to California, that the whole point of this trip was for work. So that came first before anything. And I know a lot of you wanted me to visit certain locations and experience certain things, but obviously work came first and then play came later. And there's still locations that I have not seen yet in California, and eventually on my next trip, yes, I will be going there again, whether it be work-related again, or just, doing a trip with the family. It's not going to be a one-and-done deal, so there is that. But I think my first stop when it came to related to pinball was Game On Pinball. Now, each destination that I stopped at, I did a live stream little tour, so that way everyone has an idea of what games are available at each establishment, because there's a lot of you out there that would like to know, is it worth the drive, and stuff like that, as well as just, maybe you're never going to visit this state or this area and just want to see what it's like out of curiosity. So I'm hoping that I was able to satiate those needs that you might have had for that. So Game On Pinball was a nice little place. I just wish that it was a little more obvious of where it was. They're still working on signage on the outside of their facility, because you could easily drive right past it and not even know that it's there in its current position. But they told me that they are currently dealing with the landlord, who owns the facility or whatever, and they're like revamping the exterior, so that problem should be resolved in the near future from what I'm told. And it's coin drop, and I got a chance to play on the Bond via Elwyn's Bond game, and honestly, I really enjoyed the Elwyn's Bond, and I think it sucks that they made Elwyn's Bond a limited game, because I believe that the game would sell a lot more and do very well if it wasn't a 15K plus game. I think on its release, they were shooting for 20, 22, and now I think you can get them for around 18 or so. So I didn't expect me to ever get a chance to play this game. So they had one on location, and I got to play it. I really enjoyed it. It shot very well. And I got more time on Jaws Pro and Premium. They had that there. And more time on Elton. Every stop that I made, I wanted to make sure I put games on Elton John if they had it, and Jaws if they had it. Those were my two goals, because I know those are newer releases for the bigger manufacturers, and I just wanted to get more experience and time on them, because I honestly haven't, due to them only being at shows, and you don't really get the ability to hear very well as having a line behind you. So at these establishments, I was able to put quarters in and just play game after game after game and really get a good idea of how I feel about them. And my next pinball visit was the Pacific Pinball Museum. And I enjoyed this place. The entry fee is a little steep, but it's California, so it's probably not too bad. $22 is a little steep for me, because around here where I'm at, it's usually $10 to $12 for the type of entry. But since it's a museum, I guess they kind of have that ability to do that as well. So there is that. Still, great place. I highly recommend that you guys pay to visit if you're in the area, because it's, like I said, a museum, but it's also an arcade at the same time. Then, of course, came my visit to San Francisco, or the city. So going there was quite a pleasure overall. There was definitely some cons. If you're driving in San Francisco, don't. That's all I can say. It takes half an hour to get anywhere in California, let alone the city. But it's like, all right, let's go from here to here. Oh, it's only 4 miles. It's still going to take us 30 minutes. Wow. So, but I got to see the city. I got to do the Alcatraz tour. I did the audio portion of the tour. I highly recommend it to a lot of you out there that plan to visit Alcatraz. Get up there and do the audio tour. It's a pretty cool little experience. You don't have to follow some old guy around and listen to him. You get to hear things, and you have ambient sounds and stuff like that that you would more than likely hear in a prison and stuff. It kind of just adds a little to it. I definitely plan to bring the family there in the future to experience it all over again. And I got a lot of messages from people giving me information about, make sure you do this or don't do this. And one of the tips was to make sure I wear a jacket going across the bay. And I'm glad that you guys specified that. I mean, I had a native there from California letting me know that yes, that is true. But definitely, I can see why you wanted me to wear a jacket, because when you're on that ferry going to Alcatraz, you really do feel the cold. And I almost I'm going inside the ferry to warm up kind of thing. But yeah, very good experience at Alcatraz. Got to see the sights and all across the bay and see what the city looks like. And then finally I visited, I don't want to say finally, but on my way to the Golden Gate Bridge, I actually got to see the Full House, the house that at least they used for the show exterior-wise. And I got to pay that a little bit of a visit, merely record it and keep on moving. I didn't want to hold up any traffic or be stared at by some of the residents there going, why are you recording this house? But I can say that I've actually seen it in person now. And then we went to the Golden Gate Bridge, and I finally got to do it, and it was awesome, guys. I mean, it was a very cool thing to finally see in person. I mean, I went back and forth on it a couple of times, because I wanted to see it from both sides, the Pacific side, and get to see all that area over there, and of course the bay. And then I got to walk across it, so I know people wanted me to go see it from a specific angle and everything, but I got to walk across that damn thing and, touch it with my hands, and the towers, I got plenty of pictures about that. And then you had the fort that's down there below that. I got to look down in there into it, so that was pretty cool. And it's pretty nifty to see. I've seen the documentary for the Golden Gate Bridge and how they created it and stuff like that. Little known fact, there's so much concrete involved with the Golden Gate Bridge that you could build a sidewalk from San Francisco to New York that is 5 feet wide. That's a lot of damn concrete. But when it comes to the wiring and everything, I'm going to try to throw a bunch of B-roll footage in this video to show you, but just how many separate cables are involved in making the Golden Gate Bridge, and to see it in person like that was pretty cool. It was perfect weather the day that I went to the city as well. The sun was shining, there wasn't any clouds, so I got to see everything clear. There's no fog or bad weather or anything like that. The weather overall for my entire 2 weeks there was very nice. And I don't know how hot it would normally get there or how cold it can be there, but I mean, I didn't really need to ever wear a jacket unless I was going across the bay. But yeah, weather-wise and everything, but traveling in that city is god awful because you have so many uphills and downhills. I've seen, how it is in movies and stuff, but it's just like when you're actually there driving on it. I mean, if you have driven a manual transmission in San Francisco, kudos to you because man, I can imagine the brakes and the clutch. Just man, that there's just no way. But the way to get around that city, I think the fastest is by bicycle or even walking. Because if you're in a car, every possible parking place has been taken by the residents or tourists as well. But just trying to find a place to park is a challenge in itself because there's also construction going on here and there. So when I finally got to visit Free Gold Watch, which was highly recommended by a lot of you, that was part of the trouble, was finding a place to park. And I remember asking them there, like, is it normally like this, or is it because it's April 20th and there's just more people here? And they were like, no, it's always horrible. The parking is always horrible in San Francisco. So if you do plan to go to the city, it's probably a good idea that you either Uber or rent those little Uber bikes or whatever, or scooters I saw people doing, or just, walk. Because driving a car that was bad. I mean, because we were stuck in traffic a lot. And it's just because the design of the roads and everything is just god awful. I even visited Pier 39. That was another thing. So I got to have the clam chowder and the sourdough bread bowl and everything. Really good as well. And I think that pretty much concludes all my experiences when it comes to San Francisco there, but Free Gold Watch is definitely a good place to visit. I like how it's just a kind of walk in off the street. The exterior kind of looks like the pawn shops you see in movies of in like New York and everything, just the signage, because that place used to be mainly a t-shirt what's it called? The screen printing type of t-shirt place. And it slowly grew and grew into what it is today. Got a nice little tour, and yeah, great collection there as well. You don't see many Pirates of the Caribbeans on locations, and that just happens to be one that has it. And of course, they had Elton John and a Jaws. So I definitely put some time on that and got a little bit of a lesson on some of the rules on how to play Jaws. So then more time went into work, and on the last day there, I managed to drive down to Concord and visit the Flipper Room, and this was probably up there at being my favorite visit, and the reason for that was mainly because of the parking. It was easy to park right there out front. There was no pay to park. And the machines were very well maintained. They were very clean. That was coin drop according to the era at which the games were manufactured. So your EMs are like, cheaper, like a quarter kind of thing. And then your newer games are 75 cents. And then your newer Sterns are like $1 and stuff. But very nice selection there. Very nice to meet Mike. And it's kind of the same thing as Free Gold Watch. It mainly used to be a framing business, and then they had a machine, and they had two machines, and now it's turned into what it is today. But if you're around Concord, California, then I definitely recommend paying that place a visit. It was difficult for me to be able to visit this place because their business hours are your typical 8 to 5 type of thing. And I didn't get off work until late afternoon, and it would be an hour drive for me from where I was located. So luckily I managed to get off work early on that Friday or Thursday, and got there for a good hour or so visit before driving back. But yeah, Flipper Room was a great place to visit. Now, let's talk about gas prices, because that is definitely something I'm not used to. And the price for everything, honestly, is something I'm not used to. But as I'm sitting there pumping up my rental car and I'm going over $100 in fuel, I'm like, this is insane. It was like over $5 something a gallon. I mean, we freak out here in Texas when it goes above $3. So to see it above $5, and I know it's been higher than that, it's no. And my buddy who was with me, he went to Jack in the Box. This will really freak you out right here, because Okay, so here in Texas, if I was to order a bacon ultimate cheeseburger combo and a 7-piece stuffed jalapeno, I bet it's probably going to be around maybe $15. Okay, you know what? Let me just look real quick. I don't want to be caught in a lie. So I was pretty dang close. So with the bacon ultimate cheeseburger combo and 7-piece stuffed jalapeno, we're looking at, with tax, $15.96. Just 4 cents shy of $16. So you order that in California, at least at the Jack in the Box we were at over there in San Jose, $36. So imagine the look on my coworker's face when he orders that, and they're like, all right, that'll be $36. And it's he's like, well, never coming here again. It was like, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. I don't know, I'm using the online menu here to order this, and just, I don't know how he got $36. I kind of wonder if he got screwed over somehow or another, but I'm coming up with a total of $22. So there's definitely a price increase, but I'm kind of curious how he got to $36. And the thing is, we'll never know because they didn't give him a receipt. He asked for a receipt. They said, it's in the bag. He gets back to the hotel, no receipt. So chances are he probably got screwed somehow or another. That's sad. But definitely, as the trip came to a close, I was missing home for sure, because my family's here and everything's cheaper here. But I will say for sure that California is a great place to visit. Would I want to live there? No. Visit, pass through, sure. And that was another thing, is that we were getting taxed for not being residents of California. Our hotel bill included a tax for tourists, like a tourist tax. So like, it was like 40 cents a day. I'm guessing they tax that on because we don't live in California. Like, we're just being punished because we don't live there. Meanwhile, if you live there, it's a constant punishment because of the gas prices and everything. So, I'll take the 40 cents a day versus the $5 and some odd cents per gallon of gas. So that's pretty much it. I just wanted to give everybody an idea of how my trip to California went, the places that I visited, and stuff like that. And I will be trying to play catch up when it comes to talking about all the things that are going on in the hobby and went down while I was in California, because I definitely want to talk about certain things. So I'm going to end the video with my trip going over the Golden Gate Bridge, and I will see you guys soon. Finally about to go over the Golden Gate Bridge after all these years. Cross this thing off my bucket list. But it wouldn't surprise me if we're going to hit traffic or something. Can't make it easy. Here we go. done it! Yes! It's so stupid, but I've done it.